The ancient kingdom of Kush existed in what is today northern Sudan. It sat along the banks of the Nile River south of ancient Egypt. Kush was a powerful kingdom for over 2,000 years, from around 2500 BCE to 350 CE. The Kushites were known for their military strength, their wealth, and their unique culture. The kingdom of Kush is often divided into two periods: the Napatan period, around 800 to 300 BCE, and the Meroitic period, from about 300 BCE to 350 CE. During the Napatan period, the Kushites ruled over Egypt for a time. They were known for their powerful kings who were buried in grand pyramids. During the Meroitic period, the Kushites developed their own writing system and became known for their ironworking skills. The kingdom of Kush was a major center of trade and commerce. The Kushites traded with Egypt, Greece, Rome, and other kingdoms in Africa. They exported gold, ivory, ebony, incense, and slaves. They imported luxury goods such as fine fabrics, pottery, and wine. The kingdom of Kush was a complex and fascinating civilization. It left behind a rich legacy of art, architecture, and culture. Today, archaeologists are still uncovering the secrets of this ancient kingdom. The kingdom of Kush began to emerge around 2500 BCE. At this time, people in the region were starting to organize themselves into small villages and city-states. They began to farm the land along the Nile River, growing crops like wheat, barley, and flax. They also raised cattle, sheep, and goats. Over time, one city-state, Kerma, became more powerful. Kerma was located at a strategic point on the Nile River. This allowed it to control trade routes and become wealthy. Kerma eventually conquered its neighbors and became the center of a powerful kingdom. The Kushites were skilled warriors and horsemen. They developed a strong military that allowed them to expand their territory and defend their borders. They were also skilled diplomats and traders, and they built relationships with other kingdoms in the region. By the 8th century BCE, Kush had grown into a powerful empire. The height of Kush's power was during the Napatan period, around 800 to 300 BCE. During this time, the Kushites ruled over Egypt. This period is often referred to as the 25th dynasty of Egypt. The Kushite kings were crowned as pharaohs of Egypt. They ruled over both Egypt and Kush as one united empire. The Kushite pharaohs were great builders. They constructed temples, palaces, and pyramids at sites like Jebel Barkal, Meroe, and Nuri. They also restored temples and monuments in Egypt that had fallen into disrepair. One of the most famous Kushite pharaohs was Taharka. He ruled over Egypt and Kush in the 7th century BCE. He was a powerful and influential ruler who is mentioned in the Bible. The Kushites lost control of Egypt in the 7th century BCE. They were driven out by the Assyrians, who had developed iron weapons. This marked the end of the Napatan period. However, the kingdom of Kush continued to thrive. It entered a new period of prosperity and cultural achievement known as the Meroitic period. Section 4. The Kings and Queens of Kush. The kingdom of Kush was ruled by a long line of kings and queens. These rulers were seen as divine figures. They were responsible for maintaining order and justice in the kingdom. They also led the Kushite armies in battle. One of the most famous Kushite queens was Shanakdakete. She ruled in the 2nd century BCE. She was known for her military skills. She led the Kushite army to victory against the Ptolemaic Egyptians. She is often depicted in Kushite art as a powerful warrior queen, wearing a crown and carrying weapons. Another important ruler was King Adikalamani. He ruled in the 1st century BCE. He is known for building many temples and pyramids. He was a devout follower of the Kushite gods. He worked to promote Kushite culture and religion. The kings and queens of Kush were important figures in Kushite society. They were responsible for the political, economic, and religious well-being of their people. Section 5. A culture of trade and prosperity. The kingdom of Kush was located on important trade routes. This allowed the Kushites to become wealthy through trade. They controlled the flow of goods between Egypt and other parts of Africa. They used the Nile River as a major transportation route. The Kushites were known for their production of gold. This was a major source of their wealth. They also traded in ivory, ebony, incense, and slaves. In return, they received luxury goods from Egypt, Greece, Rome, and other parts of the world. The Kushites were skilled craftspeople. They were known for their pottery, jewelry, and metalwork. They developed a unique style of art that was influenced by both Egyptian and African traditions. Kushite pottery, in particular, is known for its distinctive black-topped style. The Kingdom of Kush was a major economic power in ancient Africa. Its wealth and prosperity were based on its control of trade and its skilled craftsmanship. Section 6. Kush and Egypt, a complex relationship. The Kingdom of Kush and ancient Egypt had a long and complex relationship. They were neighbors, they were rivals, they were trading partners, they were also cultural influences on one another. At times, the two kingdoms were at war. At other times, they were allies. During the New Kingdom period in Egypt, around 1550 to 1070 BCE, Egypt conquered Kush. The Egyptians ruled over Kush for several centuries. They exploited Kush for its resources, such as gold and slaves. However, the Kushites eventually rebelled against Egyptian rule. They established their own independent kingdom in the 8th century BCE. The Kushites then conquered Egypt. They ruled over Egypt for about 75 years during the 25th dynasty. During this time, the Kushite pharaohs promoted Egyptian religion and culture. They built temples and monuments in the Egyptian style. However, the Kushites were eventually driven out of Egypt by the Assyrians. Despite their rivalry, Kush and Egypt continued to trade with each other. They also influenced each other's cultures. For example, the Kushites adopted the Egyptian practice of building pyramids. They worship some of the same gods.